All right, we're back. Another interview with 3D Nati.
Know that.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I was saying, the last interview, I had a great time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed y'all. I had y'all come over to the house.
Right.
So, I'm excited.
Right. Because it's very rare I've seen you give a second interview.
I really don't like doing interviews, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think I probably spoke about this in the past, but I don't speak about it much. I do have a little anxiety. I'm in my head a lot. I'm always thinking, overthinking. So interviews, I don't really enjoy them. But the last interview with you, I really enjoyed it. It felt like family. It felt like talking to one of my cousins or something.
Right.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it.
It was definitely a classic. We had a great time. All the hospitality.
Yeah.
All the crown you loaded us up on, you know what I'm saying? No, it was good. It was good. It was classic. It did some good numbers. It did some good numbers for us.
Good.
It got us out there, and actually after that interview came out, a few people from New Orleans reached out to us and wanted to do some interviews.
That's good. That's good.
We didn't get to connect with a lot of people. Maybe it was just a moment for them, like, hey, I want to get on, and we tried to follow up with them, and it didn't work out. But, but I'm just saying, but you gave us more exposure.
Yeah.
And you put it on your page, which even furthered the brand, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Oh, yeah, so we back for part 2. So were you in, what's that, Dogecoin? Digicoin?
Oh, did I invest in it?
Yeah, was you already in it?
No. Honestly, when it comes to the stock market, I'm not an expert. When it comes to crypto, I'm not an expert, so I don't like to speak on things that I don't have expertise in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm watching all the stuff happen. I'm seeing everybody excited. What I do love about it is I'm seeing more and more black people get to know about the stock market. I have a friend who's doing very well, and he's educating the community. His name is Wall Street Trapper.
You took the question. I was about to ask you, do you know Wall Street?
Yeah, good guy, great guy, and he's doing incredible things by teaching people about the stock market, about crypto, about investing, and all of those things. So just seeing everybody get excited about it is I'm happy to see. So I go to people like him. Those are experts to me. One of my exes, he was into the stock market real heavy. So I speak to people like that, but I can't give any advice on that.
No, and that's understandable. You don't want to give advice on.
Yeah, y'all never gonna blame me for making y'all lose y'all money.
Because people start losing their money, they start coming for you.
Yeah. So no.
And I was going to ask you, did you know Wall Street Trapper? I had just got on to him maybe a couple months ago. I saw him on the Earn Your Leisure podcast.
Yeah, I love them.
He was just on Breakfast Club.
Yeah. I love them.
He's like
all of
my
them.
favorite person right now.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I said I'm going to take his classes and buy his ebooks.
You should.
I just haven't had a chance yet, but the education he's putting out there and the way he puts it out there, he puts it in street terms. I just like how he does his whole thing. I'm a real big fan of him. So hopefully one day I want to interview. I want to interview him soon.
That's good.
Like on the top of my list.
That's good.
Because I'm in that investment thing right now.
I heard you mention that.
Yeah, man, I did good with Dogecoin.
Okay.
I cashed out. I'm not trying to be greedy. Once that money went up, it was time to cash out. But last time I was down here, it was at the beginning of the year. We didn't have this thing called COVID. A couple months after we left, that's when COVID hit.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was the beginning of last year that y'all came, right?
January. It was
January 4th. Yeah.
So did any of your family members get affected by COVID? Anything like that?
I knew a few people who actually had COVID. Nobody, thank God, it wasn't nobody in my immediate family, like my brothers, my mother, people like that. But I did have friends whose family members were affected by it. There was people who actually lost family members and stuff like that. So, yeah, thankfully, I wasn't affected as much as as some others, but you know, it's a crazy thing. It seems like it came out of nowhere. So yeah.
You taking the vaccine?
You know, that's another thing that I don't have. As of now, I'm still up in the air with it. I gotta do research before I put something in my body. You know, I don't just push it in my body like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I gotta do my research. I hear the argument of people talking about, you know, well, you eat all these things, you go to different restaurants, different places, you have different products that you use, try on yourself, and you're not gonna trust this vaccine. But no, I'm not. So I don't know. I gotta do my research.
Me being in the military, I've been shot up with so much stuff.
And that's ridiculous.
And it was available to me. I'm like, okay, what's one more thing, right? And then with me having, you know, my daughter, different people in my family, I said, I'm going to be the guinea pig. If something happens to me, you know not to take it. But I'm going to be the first.
Well, that's honorable. I would never do that.
And to each his own.
Yeah, that's honorable.
I don't argue with nobody. If somebody say I'm not taking it, I understand why. With the history of so-called vaccinations against African Americans.
Yeah, I think about the experimentation of the government. I think about, you know, when you hear stories like Henrietta Lacks and stuff like that, where they used. And you know, I don't want to get so deep into this because I don't want it to sound like a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but just protecting myself, you know what I mean? Now, if it tends, because my little brother, he's planning to take it. I think he probably had his first shot by now, I believe. But he's a new father. He has a son that he welcomed into the world. So he has things to you know, I don't know. So my brother took it. I'm thinking his genes, his DNA is very close to mine. So we'll see what happens to my brother, and we'll see.
And I don't blame you for doing your due diligence.
Yeah,
you should.
Yeah.
You know, me, like I said, I did it on the I don't call it the honor system, but I'm gonna be the guinea pig for the family. If I turn out good, you make your own decision. Something happens to me, don't none of y'all niggas take it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing then.
From that point, and man, since COVID hit, man, we done lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
From Kobe Bryant to Mo3 to King Von, DMX.
Yeah.
And that's just like a couple. It's a long list of people.
Yeah.
Since we had that last interview and all these, who's has hit you the most? Who's death hit you like the hardest? Like, damn.
There's a lot of people, you're right, that we lost. I mean, you even think about Kobe and his daughter. That was devastating to hear.
That sucked.
But the one that devastated me the most was probably DMX. And that one is the freshest, of course, but that one really hit hard because DMX was somebody who, when I look at him, he reminds me of people from my neighborhood. DMX reminds me of people in my family who so talented, because of life circumstances, dealing with addictions, dealing with their own circumstances. People say demons or all these bad energy, all this stuff, dealing with these things that happened to him that he couldn't pull himself away from, but you can see all the things that he was able to offer. Just the faith that he still had, his faith, his perseverance, his willingness to still be vulnerable and show people like he was able to get this far in life and able to inspire in the way that he did through his music. But he still was real. He still had afflictions and addictions and stuff like that. So that one hurt the most for me because, of course, I would have liked, and I think like everybody else, I would have liked to see him come out on the other side of his addiction, triumphant. And, unfortunately that didn't happen, but that was one that hit me the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so many. I'm trying to think what really hit me the hardest. I think Mo3, being from that area.
Yeah.
And the way he got killed on the freeway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That really sucked. But that ain't Kobe Bryant, man.
Also, Fred the Godson.
Yeah.
That was another one. That was another one for me. Just knowing that Fred the Godson, you know, him and I, we worked together in the past, and every time I would see him, especially, it seemed like every time I would go to do K Slay show out in New York or go to do Sway, I'll run into Fred the Godson, and he was always pleasant. We always talked about doing more music together. He had 2 beautiful girls, a beautiful wife, you know, so to lose him, somebody, and he was someone who, you know, in the same field as me, an artist, but he was also penning and ghostwriting a lot of records for a lot of artists, a lot of people in the industry. So just to see him, just to see that talent be taken away, you know, see a loss like that, that was devastating too.
Yeah, man. Bad business all the way around.
Yeah.
We lost so many legends.
Yeah.
And they left a lot of great, you know, family members and people behind. So
Betty Wright was another one for me.
Yeah, man, that's my girl.
Betty Wright was another one for me. Betty Wright is one of my favorite artists of all times.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if I spoke about this before, but I had a deal with Def Jam. They had a deal on the table. So we was going back and forth. They had sent the A&R down here to like come to my studio, come with me around the city, you know, and they asked me who was my favorite artist, right? They was asking me who, because I already know that play, right? So they was asking me who do I like so they can get that, because they was trying to get me to sign. And I knew they was trying to get whoever that artist, whoever I would say, thinking I probably would say somebody current on the radio right now, somebody that they had access to. And I said Betty Wright, because I'm like, they ain't going to be able to get in touch with Betty Wright now. Whatever, right? The next day, I get a call from the A&R, and they was like, yeah, we got somebody on the phone for you. So I'm like, all right. And it was Betty Wright on the phone. And she prayed for me. She said, I understand, you know, you have a real tough decision to make. And she said, I'm not here to tell you to go one way or another. She was like, because for the entirety of my career, I knew what record labels look like. And she ended up starting her own company, her own label. So all of that, at first she was telling me, I forgot how the story. So, but I know in the beginning she came out real young with the Clean Up Woman and all that. She was like 14. So she was with labels and stuff when she was really young. But by the time you started to hear those classics like Tonight Is the Night and all of that stuff, she had already saw what the game was because she had been in it so young. And then she started her own company. So all of that stuff was her running her own business, her own record label, and she was talking to me, so that kind of backfired on them. You know what I mean? But she prayed for me. That lady prayed for me on the phone, and I was so excited, didn't expect it. You know, I called my mom. I'm like, Betty Wright was on the phone. You know, I'm young, way younger than her. You know what I mean? And I grew up listening to her because my mama would play her music, my aunties, my uncles, all the parties, you know, being a little girl and you hearing all this. And she was just an incredible person. So losing her, that was another one for me too.
Speaking of dope singers, you got to work with another really dope, one of my favorites, Kelly Price. How was that? How's that coming back?
So Kelly Price, I was actually introduced to her through someone that used to work with her and someone that I met actually when I was out in Virginia working with Timberland. So she moved on, started working with Kelly, and they were coming down here for Essence maybe 2 years ago. And they wanted somebody to film like behind the scenes. She was working on a pilot for a show, and I was introduced to her, and they know that I had a production company or whatever, so they asked to have my company come out and film. It just so happened that I didn't have anyone on staff that would be able to make it that day, so I went out to film myself. I'm so glad that I did, because I usually send somebody out to film.
Right.
And I'm glad that I did. I'm already a fan of Kelly Price, so I get there, and she was like the sweetest, the realest too. Real, very honest, very sweet, very like just a great vibe, right? So I get there, I film this for Essence. And she started to hit me up more and more. Then the next thing, she was working in a studio out in Atlanta. She needed some footage, and I was like, well, I'll send somebody, and they wanted me. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come. I flew out there. I filmed some stuff for her in the studio, and I'm behind the camera, just filming. And she was like, she asked me to get on a song. So we did some songs. We actually did 2 songs together during that session. And every time she would get things, she just asked me to do it. So recently, she just dropped her project called Grace. And she asked me to film the video for her first single. So I directed that. It's called a Dance Party. So I directed and edited that video. And then she also did a performance on Good Morning America. So I flew in to direct that segment for Good Morning America.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Price, that's my girl. That
Yeah.
She through a couple of military deployments.
Yeah.
And
I love Kelly because it developed from, like, we call it a sisterhood. It developed from me working for her and shooting, doing the production for her behind the scenes, to her, like, giving me advice. And we talked about certain things. I was telling her about a relationship I was in with this dude one time. You know what I'm saying? Just having girl talk like a real big sister. Yeah. You know what I mean? So she's one of the most professional and one of the most honest people that I met in the industry. So I love Kelly. Yeah.
One of my favorites. So, man, let's talk about, I know we got 3D Nati, the artist.
Yeah.
We also got 3D Nati, the actor. Let's talk about the bad girl.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah.
Me and him watched it together, matter of fact.
Okay.
And I was highly entertained. I said,
were you?
Look at this.
Yeah, so they actually shooting Bad Girls 2 in June.
Is it 2?
There's a 2.
How did part 1 even come about?
So I was reached out to by, I'm going to tell you the whole backstory on why I even was a part of it, right?
Yeah, I want everything.
Okay, check this out. So the beginning of 2018 in January, I got an email from Katori Hall. Katori Hall is a screenwriter. I had no idea who she was. Screenwriter, and they was talking about, they was filming a show called Pussy Valley. That's
P Valley?
It was called Pussy Valley at the time. So I got a script, and they had a role that they wanted me to read for Mercedes, right? So I'm like, I never done any acting before. I'm like, and I never told this story before. I mentioned it on like Instagram, but I'm like, I don't know about acting. I've never done acting before. And at the time, I was going through a breakup. I was engaged with this dude, engaged for a long time, broke up, and I was looking for a house. I was about to go and buy a house. So that was the only thing on my mind. If you go to my Instagram, you can see this. Every day I was posting on Instagram, I'm this place, that place, going to open houses, about to buy a house. At that same time, I had that script in my email that I brushed off because it was called Pussy Valley. I'd never done any acting before. They told me that it was like some stripping. They told me it was in, they thought that I had an accent. I'm like, I ain't got no fucking accent, all that stuff. So I'm like, whatever, nigga. I'm like, okay. And turns out Katori Hall is the writer for the show. She was following me, told me she was a fan of my music. I didn't know anything about it, and I let it slip. Yeah. So I said, man, look, that's the last time I'm going to doubt myself. I'm going to not take it seriously because I wasn't focused on it. I don't consider myself an actress. You know what I mean?
So you were supposed to be Mercedes.
Yeah. I still got the script in my email right now. And I'll tell you one thing. That is probably one of the regrets that I have, and I don't have many regrets. But I'll tell you this. I've never even seen the show, but I could tell you from that script, they tell me it's fire. My brother actually is a fan of it. My friends, you a fan? So I know in the script they had like the rapper, he was supposed to be gay or something, like seat down low, all that. There was a scene where I was supposed to, well, Mercedes, some girl, she was the niece of the uncle who had the club, and Mercedes was kind of, she like the older chick in the club that's kind of like running shit and shiesty. Yeah, the OG who run the strip club. Yeah, so I know all of this from the script, but I haven't even seen the show. Oh, yeah. So I told myself, anytime acting comes across, fuck it, I'ma do it. If they pay me, and they, you know, it's not who I am, like it doesn't represent me. It's fun, so just do it. So the Bad Girls came, and I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, and I think I really enjoy acting. So that was my first time. I got to do it with L.A. Love. Jamal Woodard, who played Biggie in the Notorious movie. And I think we shot for maybe like, I actually was on set out in Detroit for, I want to say maybe like almost 2 weeks. And now we're shooting out in Miami, and we're shooting in Detroit again, and some other places. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be fun.
Now, going back to P-Valley.
Yeah.
Now, Mercedes, now she's mostly half naked a lot. Showing, I'm going to be clean, showing her breasts and everything. Could you have done that?
Initially, let me tell you something. I had a pole and everything in my house. If y'all notice, if you go to my Instagram or go to like some of the things that I posted early 2018, you can see a pole in the back. My brother, he didn't know about the show, but he always told me I should act. I was like, I'm not acting. So I had got the pole, everything. My brother had got me in contact with this girl that he knows who stripped. And I never paid attention to it. I was never paying attention to it, because by the time I had got the house, like they still hadn't cast it for it. So yeah, I think that I don't have a problem with showing my body. I feel like the way that I haven't seen it in order to know how naked she is, but yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Most of the scene, you know, she showed her breast. Like, you know, in the strip scenes, of course, she gonna have a thong on or something.
Yeah.
So it'd been that.
Yeah, I'm not. Nah. You know. I'm not bothered by that.
You're supposed to be Mercedes. Not watch that show. That's crazy. Yeah. You like this.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But it'll come back around. But you got to be in your own movie, dude. Well, not your own movie, but you got to be in the movie.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think I honestly think that things happen for a reason.
Exactly.
Because certain situations that happened following that, because I don't know about being a full-fledged actress. I love my life. I love the way that I move right now. Like, we sitting in this beautiful facility that I founded, 3D Studios. You know, certain things I couldn't be pulled and commit. I can't commit to right now because of what I have going on, like the project that I'm working on, the certain situations that I have coming that I'm going to announce. But I think that, of course, that would have created other opportunities, but I think I'm right where I'm supposed to be right now, for sure.
I believe you. Speaking of 3D Studios, tell us how that came about. I mean, it's a nice facility. We got a tour.
Thank you.
And man, I wish we had something like this in my home city, because that would do so many big things for a lot of people around there that's looking for a facility like this. So how did that come about? Well,
in the same way that you just said, like, you wish that there was something like that in your city. I felt the same way. And I have a business partner, incredible business partner, who approached me with the idea. And she honestly had a place in mind where creatives could come and turn their concepts into reality. And I'm like, damn, I wanted to do that. Like, I have my own studio. A lot of people come to me all the time. Of course, y'all saw my studio is in my house, and people come to me all the time wanting to film. And I'm like, I'm not having y'all in my house. It's not a commercial studio. It's not open for business. You know what I'm saying? But having the opportunity to be able to implement something like that in my city, this a huge green screen room, 2 recording studios, an editing suite, a photography studio, hair and makeup room, like all of this stuff, this conference room that we sitting in, offices, all of this stuff, this bears my name, this bears my, my soul. I want to help creatives. I know what it is to be an independent artist, funding your career out of your own pocket, to have a dream and to not have access. That's the killer, not having access. So a lot of people, they want to move to Atlanta. A lot of people want to move elsewhere because they don't have the resources. So my thing was not like, trying to get on and be rich and famous. The only way that I could really live forever is if I create something that help other people, help take their dreams somewhere. They're going to always remember me. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to live on forever because they're going to be like, yeah, I remember when I came to 3D studios. I remember when I saw Nati and we was talking and she inspired, stuff like that. That's how I feel like I'm going to live on. That's my legacy. So that was important for me to create a space that I didn't have. They don't have that here. You know what I mean?
That is super dope.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like I said, I wish we had one of these in my city. It'd make it so much easier to do interviews and recording. And people got all kind of podcasts, but there's really nowhere to, create your
Well,
content.
you're always welcome here.
I'll drive me. Yeah, I come down here and do what I need to do. When we get Wall Street trapping in, we can do what we need to do.
Yeah.
I know. Going back to that movie, how is it that none of the guys in that movie can shoot? These are the worst shooting guys I ever seen in my life.
I don't know.
And in that one scene where they was in the parking lot, and he had a point blank range and missed. Who the hell is shooting around here? God damn.
I don't know. You like my aim though?
Hey, you spot on.
Okay. Yeah, I got a little practice.
Little sniper, huh?
I got a little practice. I got a little practice.
Man, all the girls can shoot spot on, but none of these guys can shoot.
Yeah.
Was that like a play off or set it off?
I believe so. I don't know.
You got to be Cleo.
Yeah.
Without, other stuff.
Let me tell you something. So initially, that type of shit was in the script. Me being with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being Cleo.
Yeah. Not being super rough, but it was like, some pretty bitches, all that,
But you was the aggressor. And Cleo was the aggressor, so
Yeah.
I could see that.
I was fine with that. It was cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, we watched it together. We had a ball.
Yeah.
I said, look at 3D. I said, I can't wait to do this next thing.